The chapter 1 exam review starts with something everybody's familiar with, graphing a line. This is in, number 10 is in slope-intercept form already. So the y-intercept's at -2. Make a mark at -2 on the y-intercept. And we use a slope of -1/5. So the negative, we could go down 1 and to the right 5, or we could go up 1 and to the left 5. And then we hit that with a ruler. And that's number 10. 11, we'll first manipulate it to slope-intercept form. So this would be -y is equal to -3x minus 1, and then divide by -1 and get y is equal to positive 3x plus 1. We can go to 1 on the y-intercept and use a slope of 3. That's 1, 2, 3 over 1, or down -1, 2, 3 over -1. Hit it with a ruler. And that's number 11. Form of a linear equation is ax plus by equals c, where a, b, and c are integers, and we want the lead term to be a positive integer, so lead coefficient is positive. The form that this one is given in is in point slope form, so we want to get rid of fractions. We want all integers, so we would multiply through by 2, multiply both sides by 2, but at the same time we're going to want to distribute the 7, I'll circle the -7 to the right, and the 2 gets distributed to the left. That's what we called in class the hurricane technique. So distributing that 2 to the left, we get 2y minus 6, and the -7 on the right would produce a -7x minus 14. And the last thing to do would be get the x term on the left, positive 7x, and the constant on the right, -14 plus 6 is -8. That's standard form. 14, we're giving a point and a slope, but asked to write it in standard form. So there's no direct way to do that. We have to use what we have, which is point slope form. Form is y minus the y coordinate of the point we know is equal to the slope that we know times x minus the x coordinate of the point. So this is x1 and y1 right there. Okay. x1 and y1. So this writes as y minus 5 is equal to 9/4 times x minus 4. That's point slope form. And we'll do the same thing we just did, the hurricane. Okay, distribute the 4 that way and distribute the 9 that way. That gets us here. And now we want to subtract 9x from both sides. Add 20 to both sides. 16. And lastly, we want that last term, the first term, to have a positive coefficient. So divide everybody by -1. Positive 9x, -4y, positive 16. We'll do it. 14, we're asked to write a slope-intercept form of an equation, but we're given 2 points. First, we need a slope. Slope is the change in y over the change in x. So I subtracted y coordinates, 1 minus -5, and in the same order subtract the x coordinates. This produces 6 over 1. So the slope is 6. We can pair that with any of these 2 points and write it in point slope form. I'll choose this one. Y minus the y coordinate is equal to the slope times x minus the x coordinate. That's point slope equation in point slope form, but we want it in slope intercept form. That's y equal. So we'll just have to distribute the 6 and then get that 1 moved over. So y minus 1 is equal to 6x minus 30. Now isolate y. by adding 1 to both sides. And that's in slope-intercept form. 15, we have a point, and the slope we'll use, if it's perpendicular to this line has a slope of 8/3. We'll use a slope of -3/8, the opposite reciprocal. If the lines are perpendicular, they have opposite reciprocal slopes. So we can write it in point slope form using the given point and this opposite reciprocal slope. It would read y minus the y coordinate, y, is equal to -3/8 times x minus -4, x plus 4. So it's just about in slope-intercept form. Distribute that -3/8x plus, well, what is -3/8 times 4 over 1? Well, 4 goes into 4 once and 8 twice. I get -3/2. So to finish that off, -3/8x minus 3/2. So for any function, when we evaluate it for a given value, it just says let x be -2 and see what the output is. So f of -2 would simply mean input -2 where you see x and see what we get, see what the output would be. Let's see, that's -2 squared is 4. It's the negative of 4 minus -8 plus 8. Well, 4. So there's another way of saying when x is -2, the input's -2, the output is 4. The point -2, 4 would be on that graph. In number 17, we're just going to plug in this for x. That's what it said to do. Evaluate for whatever it says. Well, this is an expression, but we can do the same thing. Okay, so g of a minus 4 would simply mean 4 times a minus 4 plus 3. Okay, that's 4a minus 16 plus 3. That's 4a minus 13. And that's it. So for the function f of x, if f of 0 equal -2, that means when x is 0, y is -2. So one point on the function would be 0, -2. F of -5 is 2, so when x is -5, the output is +2. That's another point on the function. So to give an equation for the linear function, we need to find a slope, and we can put it in point slope form or slope intercept form. The slope is the change in y over the change in x in the 2 points. So it's -2 minus 2 over 0 minus -5. So I've got a -4 over +5. That's our slope, -4/5. The equation of the function is this slope-intercept form. We want to write it as, I can write the equation y equal mx plus b. We got -4/5 is the slope, and b is the y-intercept. Well, that's what this point is, right here. That's the y-intercept. When x is 0, the y-intercept is -2. So that's in slope-intercept form, which we just use for a linear function. We just use this new way of expressing that. -4/5 x minus 2. That's the linear function. Part C asks for find the value of f of 50. F of 50 would just mean -4/5 times 50 minus 2. Well, 5 goes into 5 once, into 50 10 times. -4 times 10 is -40, minus 2 more equal -42. So that's the C part. So for this problem, the Speedy Rental Car Company charges $25 a day plus 24 cents a mile to rent an SUV. Part A, write the function. Okay, so the function would be the cost as a function of the number of miles driven would be 24 cents a mile, 0.24, times the number of miles, plus that fixed charge of $25. That's the cost function as a function of miles. Part B, after you've done that, you want to do C of 20, right? Let number of miles be 20. That's 0.25, 25 cents, 20 miles, plus the fixed charge of $25. 0.25 is a fourth of 20 is 5, plus the $25 fixed charge would be 30. So part B, it would cost $30 to drive 20 miles. In part C, if the cost was $52.36, how many miles did you drive? So we're just plugging in 52.36 for the cost and solving for M. First, we would subtract 25 from both sides. All right, subtract 25 from both sides and then divide both sides by 0.25 or multiply both sides. If 0.25 is a fourth, I can multiply both sides times 4 to clear the fraction. That isolates M. 750 times 4 is 110. 110. So how many miles were driven? Answer the question. 110 miles. That's chapter 1's review. Let me know if you have any questions in class tomorrow or before the exam, or email me or whatever it takes. Best of luck.